The wind howled across the broken surface of Scifi, carrying dust and ash through ruined buildings. Gray skies hung heavy above the planet. Once, this place had been full of green forests, bright skies, and cities where both humans and Drazari lived in peace. But now, there was nothing left but ruins and silence. Commander Elias Rohn stepped carefully through the debris, his boots crunching broken glass and metal. His armor was dented and scratched from years of war. His helmet's visor glowed faint blue, scanning for life signs or danger. But all he saw was destruction. He had come alone. 10 years ago, Elias had broken the rules. He was young then, just a soldier following orders. But during a surprise attack on a small Drazari village, he had found a young alien girl hiding under the floorboards of a burning house. She had been scared and shaking. Her skin was pale lavender, and her eyes glowed faint silver, full of fear. Her name was Ariana. Instead of turning her in, Elias had helped her escape. He kept her hidden for 2 days, gave her food and water, and when things got quiet, he told her to run far away and never look back. She had looked at him with tears in her eyes and whispered, "Someday I'll come find you." But she never did. After that, the war only got worse. Peace talks failed. Entire cities were bombed. Millions died. And now, Elias was back on the planet where he had first met her. The reason? A strange transmission. His ship had picked up a broken message. Coming from a deep part of Scifi, a place marked as Dead Zone, the message only said 6 words, "I knew you would come." Over and over, it played in a soft, static-filled voice, a voice that felt familiar. Elias had followed it here, alone, against orders. Now, he stood in front of a half-buried doorway. The building above it was gone, crushed by years of war. But the door had somehow survived. It had the mark of the Terran Federation, but also strange Drazari symbols carved into the edges, something only someone like Ari Na would know. Elias placed his hand on the panel beside the door. His glove lit up, scanning. The door didn't override code. Alpha 4 Roan 7, he said. A soft chime answered. The door creaked open, revealing a dark hallway covered in dust and vines. The air inside was cold and dry. He stepped in. The hallway was silent. Lights flickered above, some completely dead. Old posters hung on the walls, pictures of human Drazari. Friendship, back before the war. Elias walked slowly, weapon ready, heart beating fast. Then he saw at the end of the hallway stood a figure, someone in a full suit of Terran armor, tall, quiet, unmoving. The armor was old, scratched and covered in ash, but it had the standard mark of human soldiers. "Identify yourself." Elias called out. No answer. He stepped closer, carefully. The armored figure turned slowly, facing him. It didn't raise a weapon. Instead, it tilted its head slightly, as if studying him. The visor was too dark to see inside. Then the figure moved. It reached up with both hands and began to remove the helmet. Elias froze. The helmet hissed as it unsealed, and the figure lifted it off. What he saw made his breath catch in his throat. She had lavender skin. Her silver eyes were full of emotion. A scar ran across her cheek, healed long ago. Her hair, white like starlight, was tied back, and her lips trembled as she looked at him. "Ariana," he whispered. Tears filled her eyes. She took a step closer, then whispered with a shaking voice, "I knew you would come." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The silence was not empty. It was full of memories, pain, hope, and something more powerful than war. Elias lowered his weapon. "It was you. The transmission?" She nodded. "I've been sending it for years, every week. I didn't know if you were alive, but I believed you would return." "How did you survive?" he asked, voice low. She looked down. "After you saved me, I ran. I joined a hidden resistance, Drazari and humans who didn't want war. We built this place. Together, it was meant to be a sanctuary. But then, they found us. Only I survived." Elias looked around the hallway again. "This place, it's part of the old Harmony project, isn't it?" Ariana nodded. "The last hope for peace. And I have something that can end this war?" She stepped back, beckoning him to follow. "But we must move." They're still watching. They know someone came, and they will come for us. Elias followed her deeper into the base. As they walked, she explained more. A rogue faction made of both humans and Drazari had worked together to keep the war going. They used fear, lies, and sabotage to destroy every chance at peace. They wanted power. And they had fooled both governments into believing the other side was to blame. But Ariana had proof. Proof hidden in the heart of the old base. Inside a memory core, it had everything: video records, transmissions, secret plans. All they had to do was reach it and send the message. Across the galaxy, but time was running out, Elias looked at her as they entered the main chamber. Despite the war, the pain, and the years, she still carried the same fire in her heart. She had never given up. And now she had risked everything just to find him. "You waited all this time?" Elias asked softly. She smiled, even as tears still clung to her cheeks. "You saved me when no one else would. You were the only one who treated me like a person. I never forgot." He felt something heavy in his chest. Guilt, yes, but also pride. Together, they stood in front of a large, sealed door leading to the memory core. Ariana placed her hand on the scanner. It glowed green. The door hissed open, but behind them, deep in the hallway, came the sound of movement. Boots. Heavy, many. They had been found. The sound of heavy boots echoed down the long hallway behind them. Ariana's silver eyes widened. "They're here," she whispered. Elias Rohn turned and aimed his weapon back into the tunnel. His helmet's visor showed 6 heat signatures. Closing in fast. Drazari soldiers. Trained hunters. Not part of the official army, no. These were Black Talons, a secret force loyal only to the war. "How did they find us so fast?" Elias asked. "I used the signal to reach you," Arina said. "But they must have been listening too." The memory core door stood open behind them. The room inside glowed blue, full of ancient tech. Elias turned to Arina. "Get inside. Lock it behind you." She shook her head quickly. "No, I won't leave you behind." "You have the data," he said. "You can end the war. You said so yourself. This is bigger than me." Ariana stepped closer. Her voice was firm. "You didn't leave me 10 years ago. I won't leave you now." Elias looked into her eyes and saw the same fire he had seen in that scared girl so long ago. She had grown stronger, wiser, braver. He nodded once. "Then we stand together," he said. Ariana moved to the control panel beside the door and locked it, partway, just enough to keep enemies from following too fast. Then she returned to Elias's side. The hallway lights flickered. Footsteps grew louder. Elias loaded his weapon. "They'll try to scare us." Ariana pulled out a slim energy blade. "Let them try." The first of the Black Talon soldiers appeared, tall Drazari in black armor, eyes hidden behind glowing red visors. Their leader stepped forward, holding a long spear crackling with energy. "You are surrounded," the leader said. "Surrender the traitor. Walk away, human." Elias took a step forward. "She's no traitor. She is worse," the leader growled. "She chose peace. She chose you." More soldiers stepped into view, weapons raised. There were too many to fight. Too many to win, but neither Elias nor Ariana backed down. Then the lights above flickered again and went out. Total darkness. Ariana whispered, "Now." She hit the switch on her wrist. The hallway filled with a sudden flash. EMP burst. The enemy's armor shut down for 3 seconds. It was just enough. Elias moved fast, sweeping left, firing low. Ariana dashed right, her blade slashing in glowing arcs. They didn't try to fight them all, just enough to break the enemies. Formation. Smoke filled the hallway. Back. Ariana shouted. They ran for the memory core chamber. Elias fired behind them, forcing the Talons to duck. As they crossed the door, Ariana hit the full seal button. The heavy blast doors slammed shut. Safe for now, inside the chamber. The air was cooler, still, and glowing with soft blue lights. In the center stood the memory core, a tall, crystal-like machine with holographic rings floating around it. It had once connected to all human and Drazari peace programs across the sector. "This is it," Ariana whispered. "The truth is here." Elias walked closer, scanning the interface. "How do we access it?" Ariana reached into a pouch on her belt and pulled out a small key. The shape was half human tech, half Drazari crystal. I made this over 10 years, she said. From both our worlds. She inserted it into the core. The machine came alive. Holograms appeared, images of human generals speaking in secret with Drazari warlords. Audio files played. A familiar voice spoke, "As long as the war continues, we stay in power." Elias clenched his jaw. They lied to everyone. There were people who wanted peace, Ariana said softly. But their voices were silenced. The core began building a broadcast file. One that, if sent out, would expose everything. Names, dates, orders, lies. Ariana looked at Elias. We can send it from here. The signal is strong enough. But he waited. But once we send it, she said, they'll come with everything they have. Not just for us, but to destroy. This place, Elias nodded. Then we don't give them time. He stepped to the console and began preparing the broadcast. His hands moved fast. Years of military tech training helped. Ariana watched him. You never stopped being a soldier. Elias smiled faintly. I just finally found something worth fighting for. She stepped closer. I always believed you'd come back. I almost didn't, he said honestly. I thought maybe it was all a dream, that you didn't make it, that I failed you. You saved me, she said firmly. I survived because of you. They stood in silence for a moment. Outside? The sound of pounding on the sealed door began. The black talons had brought a plasma drill. It wouldn't hold forever. I'm almost ready, Elias said. But I need one more thing. A message. A message? He looked at her. To go with the data. Something that will make people listen. Ariana nodded. She stepped in front of the core and began to speak. Her voice was calm, clear, and strong. This is Ariana of the Drazari, daughter of those who died believing in peace. I speak now for those who could not. This war was built on lies. Both our sides were tricked, used by the few who feared unity. But I stand here with a human Elias Rohn who saved me when no one else would. He did not see an enemy. He saw a child. And because of that moment I live, I am no longer a child. I am no longer afraid. And I believe the war can end. Listen to this truth. Let it break the chains of hate. Let us build a future from the ashes. If you believe peace is still possible, then stand up. Speak out. Fight for something better. We did, and now, so can you. The core saved the message. The full broadcast file was complete. Elias hit the final button. Sending now? The core glowed bright. Across the galaxy, thousands of receivers lit up. The truth was on its way. Outside, the plasma drill broke through. The door shuddered. They're coming in. Ariana shouted. Elias turned to her. We have to destroy the core now. They can't erase what we've done, but they'll try to twist it if they get inside. Ariana pulled out a detonator. I set charges when we entered, just in case. Then let's go. They ran to the back of the chamber. There was a service tunnel, old and unused. Ariana opened it. Ready? Elias asked, gave him a look filled with strength and sorrow. You came for me. I will always follow you. Together they entered the tunnel. Behind them, the core. Chamber exploded in light and fire. Far above the planet, in orbit, human and Drazari ships picked up the broadcast. Soldiers paused. Commanders listened. Families wept. The truth began to change everything. Back on the surface. Buried deep beneath the ashes, Elias and Ariana crawled through the dark tunnel alive, but not yet safe. The war wasn't over. But now, hope had returned. The tunnel was narrow, dark, and full of dust. Elias Rohn moved forward slowly, his weapon ready. Behind him, Ariana followed closely, holding a small light. The explosion of the memory core chamber had sealed off the path behind them. Now, their only way out was forward. They didn't speak much. Every sound echoed in the tunnel, and they didn't know who or what might be listening. After 10 minutes, Elias paused and crouched low. He held up a hand. Something's ahead. He whispered. Ariana turned off her light and pressed against the wall. They both listened. Footsteps. Heavy, steady, and close. Elias peeked around the next corner of the tunnel. There, in the flickering light of a broken lamp, stood a human soldier, holding a large rifle. His armor looked newer than Elias's, but his stance was careful, friend or enemy. Elias thought, then the soldier spoke softly into a small radio. "Control, I'm in Sector 12, no sign of them yet." But the explosion shook half the base. Could be structural damage. Elias relaxed slightly. That voice was familiar. He stepped out carefully, weapon still low. "Sergeant Dax?" The soldier spun and raised his gun, but when he saw Elias, he froze. "Commander Roan?" Elias nodded. "It's me. Lower your weapon." Dax lowered the rifle and stepped closer. "We thought you were dead. You left your squad with no word. What happened?" "I followed a signal," Elias said. "A message from someone I knew. Someone important." Ariana stepped into view. Dax's eyes widened. "She's Drezari." "Yes," Elias said calmly. "She's also the one who sent the broadcast." Dax stared at her, confused. "That message? The truth about the war? It came from her?" Ariana gave a small nod. "And from him. We worked together." Dax looked at Elias, still unsure. "Is this really what's going on?" "Everything. We've been told it's lies?" Elias stepped closer. "You've known me for years, Dax. I never lied to you. The war we're fighting, it's based on control, not truth. That message is real. The memory core is gone, but the data was sent." Dax looked down at the ground, thinking, "Finally," he said. Some of the squad picked up the transmission before command shut it down. They started asking questions. "And now command says we're not allowed to talk about it. Something's wrong." "Sir, real wrong," Elias nodded. "Can you help us get off this planet?" Dax looked around. "There's a supply hangar a few levels up. I can sneak you through maintenance routes. But if anyone sees you two together, they'll know." Elias looked at Arina. She simply said, "We take the risk." The journey to the hangar wasn't easy. They moved through old maintenance shafts, broken stairways, and dark service tunnels. Twice they had to hide from patrols. Once a scanner drone flew by so close Ariana held her breath, but they kept moving along the way. Dax asked questions. "What's your name?" He asked her. "Ariana," she said. "Why did you believe in him, in Commander Roan?" She looked ahead, "Because he believed in me when no one else did." Dax didn't reply right away, but he nodded. Later, they passed a medical station. The lights were dim and many of the rooms were empty. But in one corner they heard coughing. Elias paused. "Someone's still here?" Ariana touched his arm. "We can't risk it." But Elias stepped into the room anyway. There, lying on a broken cot, was a young human boy, maybe 13 years old. His leg was wrapped in cloth, clearly injured. He looked up in fear. "Don't hurt me," he cried. Elias raised his hands. "It's okay. We're not here to hurt you." The boy looked at them, especially Ariana. His voice shook. "You're like the one on the broadcast." Ariana stepped forward slowly. "Yes, I am." The boy sat up, wincing. "I believed you. My brother didn't. He left to fight again, but I stayed." Dax looked uneasy. "We don't have time, sir." Elias looked at the boy. "What's your name, Rian?" Elias nodded. "We won't leave you, Rian." "But I can't walk," the boy said. "My leg." Elias stepped forward. "Then I'll carry you." He gently lifted the boy and placed him on his back, securing him with straps from his gear. Ariana looked at him with quiet pride. "No one left behind," Elias said. They reached the supply hangar just before dawn. The large metal doors were guarded by 2 Terran soldiers. Dax signaled them from a shadowed hallway. "Both of them know me," he said. "Let me talk." He approached the guards. "New orders. We're moving supplies off-world. These are refugees cleared by Command Red." One guard frowned. "I didn't hear anything about that." Dax leaned closer. "Because it's above your clearance. Look, just let us pass. You'll be heroes for helping." The guards looked uncertain. But finally they stepped aside. The hangar opened slowly. Inside stood a small shuttle but flight-ready. Elias helped Ariana inside. Then he climbed in, still carrying Rian. Dax stepped back. "I'm not coming," he said. Elias turned. "Why not?" Dax smiled faintly. Someone has to stay and spread the truth. I saw what that broadcast did. Some soldiers are starting to question orders. I can help from here. Elias held out his hand. You're a good man, Dax. They shook hands. As the hatch closed, Dax stepped back and saluted. Ariana sat in the co-pilot seat. Elias took the controls. Ready? He asked. Yes, she said softly. But where will we go? Anywhere they can't reach us, he said. And from there we'll make a new plan. The shuttle engines roared to life. As they lifted off, the first rays of sunlight touched the ruined world of Cirell-5. The war wasn't over, but people were beginning to see the truth, and Elias, Ariana, and young Rian carried something stronger than weapons. They carried hope. The stars above glittered like quiet lanterns. Cold and distant, Elias Rohn sat in the pilot's seat, staring at the empty space in front of him. The shuttle was quiet, except for the hum of the engine. Ariana was asleep in the co-pilot's chair, her head resting against the side. In the back, young Rian lay curled under a blanket, still weak but stable. They had been flying for hours, no real destination. No friendly world. Just escape. Elias leaned forward and whispered to the ship's old AI, show me any recent transmissions. The screen blinked. A list of public signals appeared, some from distant colonies, others from rebel networks. Most were just noise, but one caught his attention. Message from the Free Voice Network, Sector X9, Allies of Peace, we hear you. He tapped it open. A woman's voice played through the ship's speakers. To the one who sent the broadcast, who shared the truth, we heard you. We are many. Soldiers, workers, medics, even families. We have questions, and we want answers. We are not afraid. If you are still out there, come to Beacon Station in the dark belt of Nabari space. We will listen, we will fight, if we must. You are not alone. Elias turned to look at Ariana. She had woken during the message. Her eyes met his. You heard that too? She asked. He nodded. They believe you? They believe us? Her expression was calm, but her voice was steady. Then we go to them. Beacon Station was hidden inside a hollow asteroid in Nabari space, far from any major power. Old mining equipment still clung to its rocky shell like spiderwebs. The approach was dangerous. Asteroids floated like broken bones, and the ship had to dodge more than once. But finally, a signal flashed on their screen. This is Beacon Station. Identify yourself. Elias answered, Roan Elias, traveling with Ariana of Drezari. We sent the truth. There was a pause, then the stations. Hangar doors opened. Inside the station, a group waited for them. Some wore uniforms. Some wore simple clothes. But all had the same look, people who had lost much, but not their will to hope. A tall woman stepped forward. Her left arm was robotic, her eyes sharp. She held out her hand. I'm Captain Yelna, used to serve in the Terran Navy. Now I serve. The truth. Welcome to Beacon Station. Elias shook her hand. We're honored. She looked at Arina. You're brave to show your face here. Not all of us are ready to see Drezari as anything but enemies. Ariana nodded. Then I'll earn their trust. Yelna led them into the main hall. There a large screen played the original broadcast. Dozens of people watched, some with tears, some with clenched fists. It's spreading, Yelna said. People are waking up, but we don't have time. Terran High Command and Drezari Lords both want you gone. If they find this place, they won't, Elias said. But we need to do more. We need to speak again. Ariana stepped forward. We need to talk to them, not just leaders, but the people. The ones fighting, the ones hiding. The ones who want something better, Yelna nodded slowly. Then let's give them your voice again. A few hours later, the broadcast chamber was ready. Ariana stood in front of the camera. Her eyes were steady, her face calm. Elias stood beside her. Yelna gave the signal. Recording began. Ariana spoke. This is not just my voice. This is the voice of a human boy who stayed behind because he believed. This is the voice of a soldier who helped us escape when he didn't have to. This is the voice of those who refuse to let lies win. I am Drezari. He is human. And we stand together. We do not want revenge. We want peace. But peace will not come if we hide. It will not come if we stay silent. Join us. Speak up. Ask questions. Demand answers. We are still alive. And we are not afraid. The camera shut off. Yelna nodded in approval. It's powerful. I'll send it to every rebel channel, every free wave. Let the stars hear it. But just then, an alarm rang out. Unidentified ship approaching. Fast. Everyone in the room froze. Ariana looked at Elias. They found us. The station shook as a nearby blast hit the outer ring. Elias ran to the control deck. A soldier called out, "It's a Terran gunship. No warning, no signal," Yelna barked orders. "Shut off main power. They're scanning us. Make it look abandoned." Another soldier shouted, "Too late. They're sending boarding pods." Elias turned to Ariana. "We need to hide." "If they capture you," she shook her head. "No, we fight." Yelna handed them weapons. "We hold them off long enough to launch the message. If they destroy us, we make sure the galaxy remembers us." The boarding pods hit the outer walls with a thud. Armed soldiers poured into the station. Terran commandos, silent and brutal, but Beacon Station fought back. Elias led a defense team near the hangar. Blaster fire lit the halls. Ariana held her ground near the data tower. Protecting the broadcast terminal, Rian, still weak, helped carry supplies to safe zones. He refused to hide. Every corner of the station turned into a battlefield, but still, the message uploaded. And uploaded 68%. 84%. Yelna, bleeding from her shoulder, shouted, "Keep them off the tower. If they stop the upload, everything is lost." A Terran soldier burst through the final door. His rifle aimed directly at Ariana. Elias dove. In front of her firing first, the soldier fell. Ariana caught Elias as he stumbled back. "Are you hit?" He shook his head. "Just tired," she smiled slightly. "Me too." The screen blinked. 100%. Broadcast sent. Yelna called out, "It's done. Pull back to escape pods." Explosions rocked the walls. Beacon Station had minutes left. They escaped through a service pod. As it launched away, they watched Beacon Station vanish into a ball of fire behind them. Silent. But not forgotten. Hours later, in hidden corners of the galaxy, screens lit up once. Again, Ariana's voice echoed across star systems, and something changed. In barracks, soldiers lowered their weapons. In cities, citizens marched. In Grisari temples, elders wept, because now the voice of peace was louder than war. The stars above looked different now. It had been 5 days since Beacon Station was destroyed. 5 days since the final message of Ariana and Elias Roan had been sent across the galaxy. And in just 5 days, everything had started to change. The escape pod floated silently through deep space. Inside it, Ariana sat beside Elias. Rian, the young boy they had saved, slept near the back. The small pod was cramped but warm. And most of all safe, Elias leaned against the wall, his eyes half closed. The pain in his shoulder still reminded him of the last battle, but he was alive. So was Ariana. That was enough. She turned to him. "You're quiet," he gave her a small smile. "Just thinking. About how far we've come, about what we lost, and what we found." She nodded slowly. "Do you think it worked? Do you think they heard us?" Elias looked at the small screen. On the pod's control panel, dozens of new transmissions had come through. Some short, some long, but all full of emotion. Some were angry, some confused. But many were hopeful. He tapped one message. A shaky voice spoke. "My name is Lieutenant Serial. I served in the Terran army for 10 years. I believed the Drizari were monsters. I believed we were saving the galaxy. But I saw your message, and now I've stopped fighting. I want peace." Ariana listened carefully. Her eyes filled with quiet tears. "They're hearing us," Elias said. "They're waking up. In the far Drizari colony of Zelkar something no one expected happened. High Lord Trezek, leader of the War Council, stepped down from power. In his final speech he said, 'If we teach our children only to fight, then we doom them to live forever in fear.' I have seen what peace looks like. I have seen it in the eyes of a human who saved one of our own. The war ends now." Other Drizari leaders followed him. Some protested. But many agreed. For the first time in generations, Drazari ships pulled back from the front lines, not to regroup, but to stand down. On Earth, things were harder. Terran High Command tried to hide the message. They called it enemy propaganda. They told the people it was fake, but the message had already spread. Soldiers across many colonies stopped answering orders. Some returned to their homes. Some helped injured Drazari. Some just laid down their weapons and walked away. Crowds marched through cities holding signs that read, "Peace is not weakness. We are not blind. We choose truth." Leaders could not stop it anymore. The people had spoken. Elias, Ariana, and Rian were found floating near a trade route by a rebel supply ship. The crew was shocked to see them alive. They brought them aboard with honor, giving them warm meals and quiet space to rest. Captain Yelna's name had already become a symbol. Her last act at Beacon Station had lit the galaxy with fire and hope. Her sacrifice was not forgotten. Elias sat in the medical room, his shoulder finally being treated. Rian sat next to him, now stronger, holding a small device. "People keep sending messages to us," he said. "Thousands of them. Some want to... Thank you. Others want to help." Elias smiled. "Let them. We need every voice." Rian paused. "What happens now?" Elias looked at Arina, who had just walked in. She answered, "Now we build something new." Later, the new message was sent, not a warning. Not a call to arms, but a beginning. Ariana stood in front of the camera again. Beside her were Elias, Rian, and others humans and Drazari. Young and old. She spoke with calm strength. "This is not the end of our story. This is the beginning. For too long, we fought because we were told to. We feared each other because we never listened, but now we will listen. Now we will build. If you want peace, come find us. If you want to learn, come teach. This is the new union, not of one race, not of one world, but of all those who believe in peace." The message went far, farther than the first, and it was not blocked. Because now, even the leaders had begun to change. Months passed, the new union grew. Ships, once made for war, were now used to carry supplies to damaged colonies. Drazari engineers worked side by side with human builders. Children from both species learned in the same schools that there were still problems. Not everyone was ready. Some still feared, still hated. But now, there was something stronger than fear. There was choice. Elias walked through the halls of the new Union Center on the planet Varela. It had once been a battlefield. Now it was home to 100 families. Arina stood outside, speaking to a group of young students. She smiled when she saw Elias approach. "Still fighting paperwork?" she teased. "Always," he replied with a grin. "But better than fighting soldiers." They sat together on a stone bench under a large tree with blue leaves. "Do you ever think about Sirel 5? She asked. He nodded. "All the time. We almost died there." "But we didn't," he said, "because you believed in me, and I came." Ariana looked at him, eyes full of warmth. "I knew you would." Epilogue. In a quiet museum on Earth. A small display stood in a corner, a cracked human helmet, a Drazari translation device, and a message screen that played one line again and again. She took off the mask of the human soldier. Tears filled her eyes. She said, "I knew you would come." Below it, a plaque read, "In memory of those who dared to believe peace was possible." And in the stars above, people kept building because someone had dared to take off the mask and speak the truth.